Hi, this is Santiago Zapata. I am the lead developer of NovaMundi, and today we are going to play the game for a bit. I'm going to show you the latest progress that we have made, so let's go ahead and do that. We're going to create a new expedition, so the first thing that we gotta do is select the land where our expedition is going to take place. We are planning to support different lands, but initially the one that is going to come with the initial version is the Emerald Jungle. So this is a rich land with warm beaches and dense jungles, and it's based in the geography of South America, more specifically the geography of Colombia. So anyways, let's go ahead. After selecting the land, we need to select a scenario and a sponsor. Right now we have two scenarios. The first one is called the Great Highland Nations, and it's inspired by the Muisca culture, indigenous culture of Colombia. And then you gotta select the sponsor. So depending on the sponsor you pick, you will have different missions and also different resources when you start. In this scenario of the Muisca, well, it's based on the Muisca culture. You don't have any interaction with European explorers, but you are exploring also an unknown terrain, an unknown land for the Muisca. This is all like fictional content. I mean, it's not like a strictly historical content. It just has like some inspiration. And then in the Visitor from Beyond, it's also inspired by the explorers of the age of exploration, but again, it's not like a strictly historical. So here we have like three different sponsors: the Salmina University, the Royal Crown Hispanica, and the County of Rosales. And I always say this, but it's worth mentioning. The game is focused on exploration and discovery. It's not a game where you gotta colonize the land or something like that. You're just visiting, exploring, and learning about the land and the inhabitants. So yeah, let's go ahead. You select the scenario and then the name. This you can shuffle the names. This is based on the historical database of Spanish names, but you can also pick any name you want. I like this one, Tenorio Fernandez. All right, and we're going to pick the Salmina Universitas. This is gonna give us some missions to discover things in the new world. So the first thing we gotta do is supply our expedition. We're going to hire some people in the guild, since that we don't need a lot of military units for this mission, because we are just going to do discoveries in the land. We'll still need some to defend ourselves from animals, so let's do that. Let's get some military units, but more civilian units, explorers in this case. We are planning to add more different kinds of units, like naturalists and other kinds of hunters too. But for now, this is what we have in. Yeah, let's also get some supplies. So the most important supply is the food rations. We need to stock on this because we are going to create outposts in the new world, or in the land that we are exploring, exploration outpost, and they produce food, but we need some food to get things going and also to be able to start exploring immediately. And then there are other kind of supplies. We have the trade goods, which we can trade with the populators of the land, for food mainly, or for other trade goods, and also tools like this. So we are going to take some bandages in the future. They will be useful to recover quickly from wounds. And then let's also take one of each of these just to start trading with the people that we find. And finally there's the livestock, which serves different purposes. Horses, you can they are expensive, they are very expensive, but you can use them to ride, to change the movement mode and move much more quickly, and they can also carry a lot of items, so they are very useful. Then you have the mules. Mules can only be used like to extend your carry capacity of your expedition, but they are a bit cheaper. And then pigs and cows, which in the future will be usable to if you want to use them as food, but for now they can only be used as trade goods to trade with the natives. So let's, oh well, we ran out of money. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's because of all the trade goods that we are carrying. I'm going to return some of these. The arquebus is pretty expensive, and the first people that we are likely to find are likely to value like more practical stuff like livestock and seeds and tools. So let's try to take at least one pig and then fill the rest of our ship with rations. Okay, and then we are ready to set sail, so let's go and set sail. We are creating the map now. Every time you play, the map is created, and as I mentioned in the land selection part, this is like highlands, so you start in the beach and you have to climb up to the mountains to make, in this case, to make discoveries. So very quick run through the UI, and especially the changes that there have been since the last update. We now have missions. Well, we now have tooltips that show us like what each element is. The first one is missions, so here we can check the objectives that we have. Initially we need to map 5% of the land and make discoveries worth 5 stars. We can also see some hints here, so the local population will give you directions to the animal and plant discoveries. Survey the land looking for their towns. This is very important because else we will just be walking around randomly trying to or hoping to stumble into a discovery, so that may be very costly. Another hint here is using exploration outposts as safe points to recover from wounds and restock on supplies. So that's the kind of thing that we can build. And then a rundown of the terrain. There are dense and dangerous pockets of jungle where movement is greatly reduced, but where you can find the most interesting discoveries. So yeah. Okay, so that's a hint. Then we have the journal. It's currently empty, but it's going to be filled with all the events that happen to our expedition and also with all the discoveries that we make. Then there's the inventory, which we're going to check once we're in land. And then we have the, well, a summary of the units, the supplies. We have supplies for 25 days and the fatigue, as well as some other elements that I had already discussed in previous videos. But basically the minimap, weather, the current time of the day, and the compass, which is very useful to navigate. So we're going to scout a little bit using our ship and see if we can find a coastal town that may be very helpful. When we are moving in the ships, we move much quicker than in land. So, and moving quicker means we consume much less supplies. So as we move around, the minimap is unveiled. So there's some kind of is this an archipelago? I don't know, maybe. Okay, so now we have mapped 5% of the map with our quick exploration, and we have completed one of the first milestone of this mission. So now we need to do the next one, which is 10%. I think we can land here. maybe. Yeah, this is looks like a kind of inlet. Let's go a little bit more south. Oh, it's nighttime. We better land here and then camp. So this is the landfall, well, or the general transfer items interface. We are going to, here we can like move people from the ships into the landing party. Let's do that. Let's move everybody into the landing party. We can also use the disembark all command. Very important to take food with us. We need also to take, or it may be useful to take the horses. As you can see, they allow us to carry much more items, and we can also mount them. And let's take some items as well. So I'm going to actually try to disembark all. Oh, actually, let's do it manually. Okay. Go. Okay. Now we are here. This is our land expedition. Okay, so a random event occurred, an injury. So one of our expedition members got injured, and okay. Oh, a town, great. So we can see that here. This is the inventory window. In here we can see the people that is making our expedition, and the items that we have. So from here we can also use them if we wanted, for example, to use a bandage on that explorer that was injured. We could do that. That's not yet implemented, but will soon be. Yeah. And then there's the option to build an outpost and to camp. I was about to do that since maybe we need to rest, and then mount. It's used to use the horses to be more quickly. So our expedition is very tired, which impacts our performance. So we're going to camp here until the morning. It's time to journey on or onward. We are fully rested, and yeah, so we move much quicker. We can go ahead and check with these people. So we have discovered a culture. These images are still placeholders, but we discover a culture and a new town. So everything is recorded in the journal. We discovered a new culture named Bolsa, and a new town called Yaka. And then once we are here in the town, we can go to the buildings inside the town. In this case, there's just a market, and inside the market we can talk with in this case the leader of the settlement, and then we can ask him stuff. In this case, we are more interested in animals, so there are no animals around. So that's useful info, because that means we know that the best thing to do is maybe trying to find a different town and ask if they know of any animals around. So they say that there's a town called Navita to the northwest and Beza to the west. So yeah, right now I don't have this is not recorded anywhere, so we will have to remember that. Beza to the west, okay. And we can also like check into their some description of their culture. In this case, we are also interested in knowing what they produce. So they produce food rations. Again, they are maybe hunting people, and they like or they appreciate weapons and animals. So we can try to barter with them. This interface still needs to be redesigned, but for example, we could try to trade this pig for probably a lot of rations, because if they value this kind of animals, then they probably can give us a lot of rations here. As you can see, they are constantly valuing the deal. In this case, they consider it to be acceptable. We can also try to get some indigenous artifacts to sell them back in Europe. Actually, since we already have a lot of food, it may make sense to instead try to get some artifacts, but they are too heavy. Alright, so there's no rush. I mean, they are still going to be here when we return. I'm going to go to create an outpost or leave some of these food rations in the ships and then come back and trade that pig. Okay. So again, there's Navita to the northwest and Besa to the west. Thank you. Okay. So actually we managed to spot that town to the west when we were scouting from the ships, it seems. So it's here. It's pretty close. I think I'm going to create the settlement here, or our outpost here in the beach, and or maybe a little bit inside. Let's walk all the way to this town and see if they mention any animals around. We are going to take the beach because if we go through the beach, it's more likely for us to be able to skip jungles which make movement very slow. And I'm actually going to board. Let's sail all the way there to that inlet. Here. And we are going to dock here. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Alright, that's better. Okay, a little bit south, west, southeast. It's getting late and we are already very tired, so we are going to camp before visiting that town in the morning. Probably we should do that here. Let's do that here. Let's camp until the morning. Oh, I forgot to bring food. We will need to go back very quickly. So let's see what they say. Okay, so we found they belong to a different culture. So they grant us more discoveries, which are valued in stars, and we managed to complete like another milestone on the mission to discover stuff in the new world. But what I really want to do is discover some animal species. So Tabita. Okay. There's bald eagles. That's a nice one. To the northwest. Good. We already know about Jaka. That's where we came from. But yeah, let's focus on trying to discover that bald eagle to the northwest. Let's see what they value. They also appreciate weapons and animals. Actually, well, we can carry stuff now because we forgot to bring the food. So let's try to trade this pig for some artifacts. 5, 6 artifacts and then some food rations, so we can survive without being hungry. Okay. We can also try to trade a little bit more. For example, we could try trading this axe for more indigenous artifacts. No, that did not work very well. did not like this a lot. Oh, but they do like weapons, so no, not really. They really like that pig. Actually, the evaluation is placed here. I forgot about that. They of course value the horses, but I value them too. We're going to need them. So let's do this trade. One pig for 6 indigenous artifacts and 57 food rations. So that deal was made. Again, bald eagles to the northwest. So, and they are close, so they should be somewhere around here probably. But we need to get our food. So yeah, why do we create these outposts? They are meant to be like bases where you can come back and recover from your wounds and store like all the supplies and stuff. Oh, we're going south. That's not the way that we're going to go. So let's place that outpost somewhere. Oh, but we still need to go to the ships for the food. We don't have food. Let's go get the let's go to the ships and get the food, the supplies first, and then go into our expedition to find the bald eagle. You are running really low on food. 13 food rations. That's not a lot. Where's the ship? Okay, so the ship is to the east, somewhere around there. It's getting dark. You better get some food before going to the bed. Another injury. We are extending that library of possible events, including adding some where you can actually take some action. Okay, let's get some food. We got a lot of food, and I'm also going to drop these artifacts because we intend to sell them back in Europe to fund future expeditions. And also, no, this I'm going to take to the outpost. We're actually leaving some food here, but yeah, nothing to do with that. Let's camp here to recover. Fully rested, and then let's resume our looking for the bald eagle. So northwest. Ultimately, the mission is to discover like cooler stuff. So up in the mountains, there's some remains of ancient cultures that you can find and are very valuable. But yeah, it's not easy getting there. I mean, you need to do a lot of exploration and creating like intermediate outpost in order to be able to survive all the way there. Alright, so I'm going to create an outpost here. I think we're pretty inland, and we are actually now west of that town, so we did not really have a lot of luck finding that eagle. Maybe it's on this forest up here. Let's go a little bit north and place the outpost there. I'm going to place it here in this flat ground. So I'm going to use the station command to create the encampment here, and let's transfer some guys that we don't need, but first we need to transfer this stuff. We don't need like all the food because we are going to be like only for some days. I'm going to only take mostly. I'm going to take the explorers because they give me like a bonus for exploration radius, and then let's take food for, since we intend just to look for that bald eagle, let's take as much food as we can, so we have food for 10 days. That should be enough. And actually I did it the other way. These are the guys that are staying, and these are the guys that are going with us. We can take a little bit more food. Well, that's a lot of food. Okay, and let's go. I'm going to just rename this as Outpost 1. And let's go. So here's the outpost that we made. It's now on the map. And let's try to find that eagle. We're going to change the movement mode. Now we can do that because we are only 3. Each unit needs horse, right, in order to change movement mode. And we are exploring that jungle northwest of Besa. Not sure if we're going to find anything. Maybe they gave us misleading directions. I don't know, I cannot see anything. So when you are close to a discovery area, you get an icon which lets you know about that, but you can also like be ambushed by wild animals. I don't know, I don't see any bald eagles. We are pretty far from Besa now. I think we can try our luck and try to visit these other towns to get another chance of... Okay, oh, we mapped more, right, so we now completed the map 20% of the land, so when we return to Spain we are going to be rewarded. So when you are in horseback you move much more quick, but unless you're in the forest like we are now, where we move same speed. Let's mount again. Where's that town? Okay, so to the west there's a town, let's go there. Southwest, west. Oh, discovery, great. So this is the icon that tells us about the discovery. So what did we discover? We found that eagle. So when we discover an animal species, it also goes into the discovery journal. Right now there's not a lot of like text about it, but we're going to expand that so that it details a lot more about the actual discovery and the situation that led to it, and then you get the actual image of it. Good, that's one of the things I wanted to display in this gameplay. And then we also found a different culture, so that's great. Suma. So again, they can tell, well, there's a lot of animals here. There's jaguars to the west, bisons to the southwest, a lot of animals. We can try our luck to find those jaguars to the west. And then, what did they like? Tools. They like tools and exotic plants. Don't think we brought anything. Yeah, we did not. Maize farm. So this is like a trade good that is also valuable to get to sell back in Spain. Oh, they have llamas too, but we did not bring anything to trade. So I think we can now return to Spain to claim the reward for these initial explorations. But before that, okay, so let's go back to our settlement. Our outpost is pretty far to the south. We can try taking this route to avoid going into the jungle. So a little bit east and then south, like this way. But let's camp first. We're tired. Okay, so this way we may discover something if we take this different route. A little bit more south. So one of the things that we are doing right now is adding more variety of things to discover because I think that's going to be one of the main points of the game, like finding cool stuff to discover in caves, remains of camps and stuff like that. We still have 21 days of food. Actually, we're going to cap that to 8 days. Okay, now we are just like one short strip of jungle to the east, away from the camp. So let's cross it. Okay, here they are. Outpost 1. And what I wanted to show is like a small sample of the actual combat, because it's also always something relevant. And again, I want to mention again, this is not a colonization simulator. You cannot attack the natives just like that. In this case, the combat happens when you are, for example, going after some rogue soldiers to bring them to justice or something like that, and that's what we're going to test here. That's like outside the actual flow of this quest, but I want to do that just to include it because I missed it in the previous recording. So I'm going to do that. I fear that I may have brought too little mens for this test, but let's go ahead and do that. Okay, well, we are 5 versus 5. So combat in this case, it's happening inside a temple. You can pause anytime and resume combat if you want, and then you select the units that you want to action and assign them different commands. I don't know why they are not moving. There's something going on there. Okay, but you get the idea. Something weird happened there. They are not moving. That's good because that lets us move around, and that's actually helpful because one of the things that we are about to release, or we're actively working on, is the zoomed exploration. So basically you will be able to enter places like this temple, but also different kinds of places like caves and stuff, and it will be very similar to this combat mode, but without the combat necessarily, and you will be able to examine stuff to find cool things. But anyways, let's finish this combat. This was not a combat because they are not doing anything, but anyways, they are dead now. Okay, and let's head back to Spain. the ship is right there. We have also done some work like in the wildlife, adding animals to the world, so that it feels more alive. That's again something that we are still a long way from it being complete, but we are doing progress on that. Next version will include the ability to hunt, so you will be able to hunt animals that you find out there, which will be very useful once the 8 days cap to supplies is added. Alright, anyways, let's board and let's go back to Spain. So in order to do that, we just need to get out of this inlet and sail east. So we have explored quite a bit of terrain. We did a discovery of an animal species and 3 towns actually. So that was pretty good for a first voyage. We're about to continue sailing west to plot acres to Europe. And we are sailing back. So first off, we traded all the merchandise on board for 1800 gold, so all that native artifacts mainly. Then we are given gold for completing the quest of mapping and finding discoveries, so we have a lot of gold now. And we can use that gold to get supplies or to get more trade goods if we wanted. But again, our main mission is a mission of discovery, not being rich, just getting enough money to not die. So yeah, we could like take some more pigs here. We have 13,000 golds, so we can get like 6 pigs, a lot of pigs. And also more horses, because if we have more horses, which are pretty expensive, we can explore the land quickly with more people. We now have just 3, and again we can also hire more people for our mission. If we wanted to do that, we could like take more explorers in if they died while exploring. That hasn't happened so far. We have had a very peaceful expedition, but it can happen anytime. So that was like a voyage, and then we can return, do more trips to complete our goals. But I believe that that's what I wanted to show for this small gameplay sample. I hope you like it. We are now on Steam, so if you like what you see, remember to wishlist us. Sorry about that. Remember to wishlist us and get follow the Steam page. We are posting like weekly reports detailing all that we are doing. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next update.